got a lot to talk about today, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please like and subscribe and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Yeah, to start with, we have a fun one. The direwolf is back. That's right. From Colossal Biosciences. They actually have audio of this thing. They say the direwolf has been extinct for over 10,000 years, but now it's back. These two wolves were brought back from extinction using genetic edits derived from a complete direwolf genome, meticulously reconstructed by Colossal from ancient DNA found in fossils dating back 11,000 to 72,000 years old. This moment marks not only a milestone for us as a company, but also a leap forward for science. All right, let's listen to this bad boy, or bad wolves. So bad. Yeah, that's the howl of the infamous direwolf. Well, the direwolf puppies, anyway. That's right. They've brought direwolves back. What is this going to look like? What are these guys going to be like when they're adults? How big are they going to be? Are they going to make more of them? Are they going to reproduce? Is there going to be a population of direwolves in the wild? Or is this going to be something just for exotic pet owners or the sciences or the zoo? Why are we bringing back extinct direwolves? Do we want direwolves? I mean, let's face it, we all want to be like Jon Snow running around with our own direwolf. I mean, that'd be badass. What are the ramifications of this? What is this going to look like? And also, if you're like me, you're going to wonder about the Brandon Fugel connection, the Skinwalker Ranch connection, specifically the Skinwalker connection, because on one of the seasons of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, they found the carcass of what appeared to be a juvenile direwolf, which, again, has been extinct for many years, until now. So is that an actual direwolf that aliens brought back through time? Is that the body of an actual skinwalker that they have recovered? Well, I'm not the first person to wonder about that. Steve Skojek wonders the same thing. Did you guys ever get results on that wolf carcass / teeth you found in the stream on the ranch? Didn't you guys say it appeared to be a direwolf? And yeah, Brandon Fugel actually liked my comment there. That's one of his one of the hearts there. I was wondering about that myself. So does that mean Brandon is going to comment on this? Well, I don't know, but apparently he is actually an investor in this company. He says, we live in a time of miracles. You're hearing the first howl of a direwolf in over 10,000 years, thanks to the historic work of Colossal Biosciences. Proud to be an early investor. So yeah, intriguing that the gentleman whose property a direwolf was found on is also an investor in this company. Not that I think the two are directly related, but you can understand where his interest in direwolves might be coming from. Meanwhile, Ross Coulthart says he's calling it the mystery drones are or might be anomalous.
Okay, I'm calling it. I think the drones are anomalous. I think they may potentially be NHI. I've had people from the intelligence community who have asserted flatly to me that they are Chinese or Russian drones. Bullshit. I don't believe it. And I'm calling that out. Nobody, and I've really milked all my sources, nobody I can find has any evidence at all to prove that these are foreign adversary drones. I don't even think they're drones. Whatever they are, I've spoken now to multiple people who've told me they've seen these objects morphing. I can't verify the authenticity of it, but I tweeted recently about one that was hovering over a house that somebody videoed, and it was literally, it looked like two aeroplane cockpits a little bit apart from each other. It looked like whatever the hologram was that was being generated, it hadn't quite worked, and it was hovering over a house. And
yeah, so these things change shape. Probably another unfortunate screen grab from Ross, but okay. get better screen grabs, Ross. Come on, just anyway. But planes changing shape, drones changing shape. We've seen that before. I've shared videos of that before. Sometimes they seem to be orbs, and then they turn into drones or plane-like shapes. So what are these things? I've long leaned in an anomalous direction for the mystery drones. I think that's really the only thing to explain it. And it also is the only thing to explain the government's stance on what we're seeing. When they think there's a spy activity, and if they bust a spy, they are happy to report that. It makes them look good. But they don't talk about UFOs. They suppress information about UFOs. If a downed UFO, if they recover a downed UFO, they don't talk about it. They have one of the mystery drones. It went down over a military base, and they recovered it, and we haven't heard boo from them. So, yeah, this pattern of behavior on the part of the government is exactly the pattern of behavior they show toward mystery drones. So I think toward UFOs, excuse me. So, yeah, I think we're looking at UFOs. I think we're looking at anomalous activity. Daz Smith did an amazing remote viewing on the mystery drones, particularly one specific mystery drone, because he was remote viewing from a picture. Well, it was a double-blind remote viewing, but the target was an image of a mystery drone. And he was saying, yeah, this shape-changing, anomalous vehicle from somewhere else. And his viewing goes into much more depth than that, and it's really fascinating remote viewing, maybe even with some important information in there. And I'm hoping to bring him on the channel to talk about it, so hopefully that'll happen. But yeah, I think the only thing to really explain the mystery drones is something anomalous, something NHI. And it looks like Ross is leaning in that direction too. But let me know what you guys think. Meanwhile, Paul Oglesby says Sunday Skywatch with Chris Bledsoe after Azalea Feast. This was our grand finale. All right, let's see the grand finale of one of Chris Bledsoe's TV.
There's a real dead one up there. There's what behind the clouds, never mind. Where at? It just went behind this cave, but it was up here headed towards the water.
Look how bright this one is.
Oh, man. I love how everybody's so excited. I mean, it's pretty damn cool. I'd be excited too.
Oh, I didn't even know the camera was pointed right at it too.
That's a beautiful UFO. That's a beautiful, beautiful orb or whatever.
That was bright. Wow.
It's getting bigger and brighter too.
It's number 16 too.
Yeah.
That is
Conservative. That's right. That is right.
That's a great sighting, I think. I think it's a fantastic sighting of a UFO. But, people have been doing this forever. This is a gentleman. I saw this news report long ago. I can't really play the whole thing because of the music. But this gentleman considered himself to be a prophet, and he could summon in UFOs, and a news crew did a piece on it. And he brought in UFOs. And this was, a couple decades ago, I guess. And, this was before the term CE5 was a thing. But he was doing CE5. He was summoning these UFOs. And he did it live in front of this news crew. He got 2 UFOs. One you can barely see, and one you can see very clearly. And I think the news crew was really blown away by it. And so people have been doing CE5 for a while. I mean, there have been contact modalities probably for thousands of years of one sort or another. But this is a fantastic sighting from this gentleman who could do this. And, I would love to learn more about his story and what he's all about. So I may have to dig into that. If you know anything about it, let me know. But yeah, a cool story, and it's important to know that Chris Bledsoe is amazing as he is, and he is amazing. People have been doing this for a while. Meanwhile, this is an interesting story that I've seen come up that the Canadian Embassy in Washington, D.C. was approached by the U.S. government shortly before Balloon Gate, wanting to coordinate about UFOs. But the Washington guys couldn't find anybody to talk to, or at least the intermediary couldn't find a go-to person to talk about UFOs with the U.S. government. Here is the letter I have a bit of an odd request. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the ODNI, has approached us to identify a Canadian person of contact on UAP. They have indicated that such a person of contact might exist within Transport Canada or NAVCAN. Unfortunately, I have reached out to my TC contacts and they are unable to suggest anyone. I have no entry points into NAVCAN, but can wonder if you or your RCAF colleagues might be able to suggest any, or if you have a point of contact on this issue with the RCAF. I'm assuming that's the Royal Canadian Air Force. ODNI is looking to brief on the issue and to establish an ongoing exchange of info. And what's really interesting about this is the date on this, January 17th, 2023, right about when Balloon Gate hit. I think this was like just before Balloon Gate hit. So intriguing that all this was going on in the background right before there were balloons showing up, over the U.S. and also Canada. And so what was going on there? Did they know something was about to happen? Meanwhile, in light of the Skywatcher jellyfish, I talked about this on the live stream a little bit, but it's important to know, of course, that that's not an isolated jellyfish. People have been seeing jellyfish, or at least jellyfish UFOs, for a long time. And, Jeremy Corbell released that famous jellyfish UFO, and various others have shared similar UFOs. But this is from 1954. The Associated Press is reporting from London. The crew of a British airliner reported the plane was followed last night for 80 miles by 7 weird flying black objects near Goose Bay, Labrador. Captain James Howard, pilot of the New York to London airliner, said the mysterious escort vanished when a U.S. Air Force fighter plane came up to investigate. The British Overseas Airways Stratocruiser was at 19,000 feet, about 150 miles southwest of Goose Bay, when the objects appeared. They flashed into sight suddenly and obviously were not aircraft as we know them, Captain Howard said. All appeared black, and I will swear they were solid, he said. They might have been 5 miles away. They stayed with us 18 minutes. There was a big central object which appeared to keep changing shape. Giant flying jellyfish, we dubbed it. Sometimes it was wedge-shaped, sometimes like a dumbbell, sometimes like a sphere with tail-like projections. The 6 smaller objects dodged about either in front or behind. So this was some sort of fleet of objects. And at least one of them was this shape-shifting squid thing. All 10 members of the crew agreed with his description, as did those of the 51 passengers who were awake at the time of the sighting. A wild sighting from the 1950s, back before the suppression really came into play, tamping down on all the UFO news that until then had been percolating not just in the U.S., but as we can see, abroad. Meanwhile, Michael Schratt talks about Mark McCandlish to Jesse Michaels. Now, this is a 3.5-minute clip. I don't want to play the whole thing. There's not a lot of information in it, other than what we already know. But the really significant thing about this segment is how uncomfortable Michael Schratt is in talking about Mark McCandlish and his, sad demise. And he seems afraid. And I think that's significant. He won't say that Mark met his end by suspicious means. He won't go there. He doesn't even want to talk about Mark's story. It's really peculiar. I mean, Mark's story is well known. He's the one that, where we got the term ARV from. I mean, it's a very well known story of him, finding these reverse engineered vehicles, our own UFOs, and spreading that story. And then, of course, afterward, he met a suspicious end. But Michael Schratt, who I love, I think he's just a great researcher, and this is no shade on him at all. But during this interview, during this segment, you can see just how uncomfortable he is. He seems afraid. And I think it's worth it to watch a minute or so of this just to see how he reacts.
The other person you were like best friends with was Mark McCandlish.
That's correct.
So tell us about Mark McCandlish.
It's his story, not mine, you know. And I mean, I could talk about it, but anything having to do with that particular story has a bad demise, like almost every time. So I would relinquish that to Mark's documentary, and I think I'll leave it at that. But
I mean, that's a morbid statement. Do you think that that's a coincidence, or?
It's possible, but I can't prove that. You know, it's possible, but that has sort of been the case.
You're saying it's not a coincidence, maybe?
Well, no, I think what happened to Mark was just exactly what was reported in the police file.
And he committed suicide?
He punched out. He punched out.
He did
It's sad because he's the world's premier aerospace.
You were his best friend.
He was my best friend. Yes.
Did he seem suicidal?
Well, not the last time I talked to him. He wasn't suicidal.
So then why do you think he punched out?
There were a lot of different reasons.
Because my buddy UAP Gerb emailed Brad Soren. So let's set up this whole.
You want to call him out by name, huh? I didn't say it, but anyway.
I don't know if I'm doing anything. It's all open source, and other people have covered it, and so I don't think I'm doing anything too, crazy. But yeah, my buddy UAP Gerb, who's covered all this stuff on his great channel, UAP Gerb. This is a crazy story where it's like you have this air show at Norton Air Force Base.
Correct.
And when is it? It's in
November 12th, 1988.
1988. And there's a sort of back of the house, like more exclusive air show. They fly
in the big hangar.
In the big hangar, and they fly from Norton to where exactly?
Well, there was allegedly a second part, but we have now since killed that. It was all at Norton.
It was all at Norton?
Yes.
Okay. And there's this Italian financier and some other big shots or whatever.
You don't need me here.
Who's this Italian financier?
We don't know for sure. I won't name who the two people we think that it is. I'll stay off.
Why? Yeah. So you know more than you can say? I
wouldn't say I know more, but I'm familiar with the story.
Well, it feels like you know.
I'm familiar with the story.
So you're really spooked by this story.
I'm going to leave it rest because it's not my story. It's Mark's story. And
yeah, so he does. He seems spooked. He knows stuff that he can't say, and what he does know has spooked the hell out of him. And again, I'm not casting any shade on Michael Schatt. I think he's awesome. But yeah, whatever he knows has scared him, and he won't say that Mark McCandlish did anything other than kill himself. But clearly, he is afraid for a reason. Meanwhile, here's a really interesting response from Jake Barber talking about Arrow. And how Arrow, have been on the range, this place where Jake and his team are summoning these UFOs. Arrow's been there.
You know, the office of Arrow is, to me, it's one of the most exciting offices the Defense Department has ever stood up. And in the spirit of that office, I'm really excited about it. And I really do hope that we can have a more functional and opening relationship with them. We are in communication with them. They have been on the range in the past with us, but they aren't the only ones that have an interest in this. There's a number of departments across government, and under the new administration, we've got a lot of there's been a lot of positive interactions and a lot of plans for the future, and you'll learn more about that quickly. What we're doing, you have to forgive me, but we really want to allow anyone on the government side their own opportunity to discuss their involvement with this project on their own watch.
Okay, so maybe that's what they're going to do with Arrow. Trying to get a better screen grabber for us. But yeah, so maybe they're waiting for Arrow to come out with their own response and admit whatever they want to admit, if anything. If they have been to the range, does that mean they've seen Arrow Skywatcher summon UFOs? If so, how can they deny that UFOs exist? That'll be kind of interesting to watch play out. It's really interesting that Jake says there are also other government entities that have been interested in Skywatcher. I'd be really curious to see what that is, who those players are. You know, are we talking about legacy groups? Are we talking about the UFO control group? Are we talking about the declassification task force? Who specifically is interested in Skywatcher? Some group that we've never heard of? At least it's encouraging that he says things are progressing well. There are, elements of the new administration that are responding favorably to what they're doing. So yeah, very encouraging signs. Meanwhile, Wixie is sharing an awesome orb video. Check out this thing. Just hanging out in the sky. You can see the direction of the wind from the leaves and things blowing around. And it doesn't seem to be going with the wind. But wait until the end, because it pops off. Or not, it doesn't pop, but it moves very rapidly away. And definitely not the way a balloon or something would move. So yeah, it's just kind of hanging out, hovering, bobbing around. And then look at that. It realizes it's late for lunch and it just boogies off. Check it out. I don't think this is CGI. Obviously, you can never rule that out these days. But I think this is a really solid sighting of something that was actually in the sky. And it wasn't a balloon. It wasn't swamp gas. You never know if it's a raccoon or not. It's always on the table. But otherwise, I think this is a pretty solid UFO, but let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about it all in the comments below, including this most pampered dog of all time. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and of course the bell to be notified. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Discord, and Rumble, links below. Love to see you guys there. If you want to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, consider giving your dog a facial rub. Also buy a book, buy a t-shirt, become a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I will see you next time. Look at this dog, guys. Look at this dog. Oh, my God. Oh, wow. Life of a dog. Day at the spa. Man. Okay, see you next time, guys. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.